Like, I don't know if you know how to news jack, but I'm telling you, like, your interview that you did, like, you can send that over to ABC because your argument is on point.
Thank you.
You know what? I met Russell. Is his name Russell? Beyonce, Tina Knowles' new husband.
Richard Lawson.
Yes, Richard Lawson, and he made a very good argument at it was like the seminar that we did in regards to how in the 1960s when he started his whole career that they wanted to always use African American actors as criminals, and he said, "Hell no." He said, I will not be a part of you misrepresenting African Americans. And so when I was listening to your interview when you was coming back and some things that you were saying in regards to the lack of diversity. And you know what? I even just like thought about the 1920s and the 1930s where African Americans were always used as the butler or the maid. And so I know that we've come a long ways. Like, can you just elaborate in regards to your argument, in regards to how you said starting your own is very important and how just this whole thing, because really this strike is really not, it's not about us.
You know what? A lot of people don't really understand that it is very expensive to maintain a lot of the membership and the fees that come into this. So definitely something there, but it just looks really, really awkward. And I think in Hollywood, there's a disconnect between our people, the audience, and the diverse representation. I'll just say this. There was another actor, Sterling Brown, and he was at the Screen Actor Guild Award, the SAG Awards. And the interviewer asked him, I believe she was maybe for a Griot or some, major, one of our major digital. And she said, you're always talking about diverse representation when it comes to acting, in front of the camera. But what about like Black-owned media not having access to these spaces? And he just literally, you saw in real time, his eyes got big and he looked around the room. She said, I told you it was going to be a hard-hitting question. He was like, you're right. There's a lot of white people in the audience. Our brothers and sisters in front of the camera don't even understand the suffering that's happening below the line and behind the scenes. So while they're fighting for representation, I charge them and say, but your representation don't look like us either.
Right.
You only talk about representation when it comes to acting. And this could just be conversations that we should be having. But it seems like at the same time, your representation is not diverse.
Exactly.
So what's happening is we are having a disconnect with the audience and not understanding. I thought we were excluded. I thought in large, we weren't even getting these roles. So for those that are, I understand, labor unions are important, but I feel like a lot of this could just be employment councils coming in. I think a lot of this could just be, we have labor laws. We have protection as laborers. Unions are prohibiting people from even getting work to begin with. So my argument is saying, I, as a publicist, as a unit publicist, I can't even get jobs because I'm not in the union. And so when I do find a project, it might have to be an independent project. It is very expensive to be a labor union project, to be a part of these unions. It's expensive already. So until you get the funding, you're going to go independent. You're going to go private. I don't hear Tyler Perry making too many, arguments in this case, because a lot of times, I'm not sure what's happening, but I remember like in some of the earliest days, I don't think he was always, union. For a lot of his.
Tyler Perry was excluded. And that's why he had to go to Atlanta. That's why he went to Atlanta.
Georgia is a right to work state. What I'm coming from when I say right to work, mine is more so on we should all be entitled to work if we want to, based on our experience. So what I'm saying is some people can't even act, because they're not part of the union. They may say, it's really interesting with actors. Actors have a better entry point. They could be a background and do so much background work that now they're eligible to become a SAG member. So they can get it eventually. Writers, they might bring in a writing team and onto a project, because writing teams can be, pretty big of a few people. Now you're bringing it, so you get a chance for that. That's great. But if you look at the overall, unions, in my opinion, exclude people from getting work. As you can see, many actors just want to do what they love. They love acting. It's their chosen profession. And because of this union, they're not able to work. I mean, last week, when the collective bargaining agreement had not, come to terms, literally at midnight, there were people still on set in their trailers. Shut it down. The union has decided to authorize a strike. Everybody, you're done. And because they are a part of a union in solidarity, everybody stops working. And a lot of people believe this strike is going to be for a few more months. You may not see many people getting back to work until maybe this fall.
And that, do you feel like that is hard on the economy, Lila? Do you think that that's like hard on the economy in regards to actors not being able to pay their bills? Because, one thing I heard Gabrielle, and I'm not going off a topic, but I heard Gabrielle Union say something that was really interesting when the pandemic was going on. And she was like, it's a lot of broke celebrities. And they are trying to make rent and pay their bills and keep up with these lifestyles. And I'm literally, and I actually had a friend that she was like a mentor. She did a lot of work assisting, like assistance to celebrities. And she was like, Crystal, if you only knew the behind the scenes of celebrities and these actors and high profile people, they have to maintain these lifestyles. So do you feel like this can really hurt some actors, especially, and I didn't even realize it, Lila, this is bringing so much to light, because I didn't even realize the actors that are just like working just like us, like 9 to 5, like just trying to maintain, and all this is happening. So do you feel like this will really hurt the economy?
They said the last strike cost the city of Los Angeles millions of dollars. I think, unfortunately, I've been reading more on labor unions as a whole. They hurt the economy. Labor unions hurt the economy. Some argue that it brings up inflation. Even if you look at the automotive industry, now you increase these wages. And these companies the streaming companies, the streaming giants are supposed to be they're making that money. But what is happening is that they make money from revenue and other, merchandise, and it's just, so these things can be looked into, I think can be further examined. But at the same time, unions, I think, actually hurt the economy. And what is happening is I'm happy there is more exposure, because a lot of people do get caught up in the lifestyle. When you come to Los Angeles, you might even be a guest star on a few shows. It's not enough. It may be, you might book 2 or 3 shows out of everyone that's auditioning, and you might only make a couple $1,000s in a whole entire year. So many actors are working as servers. Many actors, there was even a story, I think Michael B. Jordan said, even after The Wire, it was really embarrassing. He was like, we about to go into this fast food restaurant and ask for a job, and people are going to recognize us, but it is what it is. You gotta
do what you gotta do.
Yeah, so the thing is, they're not seeing the residual. Actress Brandy Evans, who plays on the show P-Valley, she plays Mercedes, is her character. She showed her residuals. I believe it was a couple pennies here and there. One actor told me in my interview that he only received $4 for an episode he did of Power 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I said, oh, you're in the dollar amount. That's good. You must have had a good role. I was talking to a friend today. He said another actor said she got $64 for something she did in Sharknado. I said, $64, that's good. That means it got a lot of plays, because they're really getting pennies. And I would tell anybody that's trying to understand the number crunch here. There was a video VH1 did behind the music where Lisa Left Eye Lopez. She said, everybody wants to know how we got into bankruptcy. Let me explain to you. And then she broke it down. Now, TLC is one entity splitting 3 ways. But think about this. If you're getting 19 cents on the dollar, you're only getting 19% for your value. You're not getting full compensation.
Right.
So the thing is, the distribution is where the money is. Netflix really just started producing shows, and even their shows such as House of Cards are very expensive. But it used to be a time where HBO would buy a show from a production company. So what happens is the production company puts money, the producers put in money to create a TV show or a film in hopes that they go take it to a festival, which they got to pay for that.
Right.
Hope that there's a buyer that comes to it and likes it and says, hey, I think this would be great for Amazon, or I think this would be great for HBO, or I think, this would be great for, X, Y, and Z, for Columbia, what have you. So that's the production companies would take on the cost and they would get it. So it'll be sold and then it will matriculate later with all the markups and things. So it takes years sometimes to get a project sold.
Right.
So a lot of people just don't understand the business of movie making and understand the producer. It takes a lot of money. The goal is to sell. You need a sales agent. Some people are just producing their own independent film and they don't have a sales agent. They don't have someone going and putting it into festivals. I even know that there are some festivals that are so desperate for projects to be shown at their film festivals that sometimes they even waive fees just to get a screening. Now, this goes into publicity and marketing. Now your show, your film is showing at a film festival. Okay, but there's 100 other screenings happening throughout a week, or a weekend.
Right.
So now you got to make noise to even get press there, to get buyers there, to get influencers there. And I mean people that can actually influence the purchasing decisions. So there's so many moving parts that I really don't think the actors understand that somebody's got to pay for that publicity and marketing. So what was the first thing that they told a lot of the actors? You cannot even publicize your involvement into the show. So let's say you got a new movie out. You see a lot of the it's done. Like there's no more. If you got a new TV show that's airing right now, I was a unit publicist for a series. The actors cannot even promote our second season on social media. They can't even go do publicity. But the thing is, how many actors, out of solidarity with the union, but how many actors really go and hire a publicist? They don't understand. It takes millions of dollars to distribute this. You see, we had some technical difficulties with this broadcast. Streaming is heavy. It is expensive.
It is.
We're broadcasting in 4K, quality. So it is very expensive. I don't think the actors understand that you are part of a capitalist society and economy, and there will always be exploitation.
That's good, girl. That's good.
So you trying to reason with exploitation. Stop calling it capitalism then. Let's call it exploitation. You're trying to reason about exploitation in a way you're still feeding into an exploitative economy. So you are a minor piece, and a lot of people don't understand the post-production editing. Those people got to be paid.
Yeah.
Writers have to be paid. Editors need to be, sound engineers need to be paid. So the actors, we see the actors, but we're not thinking about all of the other things that went on behind the scenes. It is very expensive to put on a quality show. I was filming, I was part of a unit, I was the unit publicist for a production that was filming in the last winter. I just saw how expensive it was. A lot of people are not understanding. Like, you got to pay craft services. It's just so expensive. You have to pay me. You need to pay background extras. But then when the show is done, you got to go into editing, sound. You got to sync the sound. A lot of people just don't understand. Social media marketing. You got to do advertising spending to tell people that this show even exists. When they're flying actors to go overseas to promote, they're not getting paid for publicity, but money is still being spent to put on those red carpet events. And It's just so much. So the average actor I don't think they understand everything that it entails to really put on a high quality production.
Do you feel that like when it comes to like just the whole production of filmmakers, do you feel that um going the route of Tyler Perry and doing it like the way that he did it, do you think that will also be an avenue that a lot of filmmakers can take to bring on more actors that are not union? Because unions seem like it's a whole world all by itself. And to tell you the truth, I don't feel like it was really set up for minorities. To tell you the truth, I don't think so, because it's something that's coming out like out of like old that white supremacy. So I don't feel like it's
a lot of the actors told me. I said, "Why are you standing in solidarity with a union?" You said excluded you, and they said, "Well, if we didn't have the union, it'd probably be worse for Black talent." And I'm thinking that's just, to me, that's like slavery is a choice.
Right.
So they fear, because they are Black, that the industry would exploit them even further. The union is the one that's saying, "Hey, it's been we've worked 6 hours. Yeah, we need to go to lunch at 1:00." It's the union that says, "All right, we've gone overtime today. You need to feed them dinner as well." But that could be somebody, that could easily be someone that's a employment compliance, a labor compliance officer. But somebody still got to get paid. So what is happening is that I understand that if it wasn't for a lot of these laws, like we need child labor laws,
right?
Or do we need a union to make sure that young actors are being treated a certain way, or can this be settled in employment protection? So the thing is, it is very, very, it's nuanced. There's so many different parts. That's why I'm like, I don't think they see that maybe Bob Iger. I think they see the a lot of the studio heads making $25 million a year, but you don't understand. He's got multiple shows that he's operating. He's got a sales. He's got marketing. He's got product and merchandising. He's managing hundreds of people that work behind the scenes as well. So executive pay, CEO pay. People say, "Oh, Bob Iger makes $25 million," but you don't understand. He's over Disney, and right. That's so many things. This is the Disney Channel. It's movies. It's it's so many things going on. So I really hope people take this time to understand a little bit more about all the intricacies in running a studio or a company, a network, and even the streaming giants. The thing is like, I wish there was more transparency. I hope that is what happens here. But from what I understand, this is what you negotiated. I think update to include the streaming giants, the Hulu, the Netflixes of the world, the Peacocks, and all these other streaming companies and the spinoffs. There needs to be an update. But to me, I think there's a lot more people, like you said, in Tyler Perry's case, that will still be able to go ahead and do his movies, go ahead and do his thing independently. For all the independent filmmakers, they're not rioting and picketing because they're not even a part of these unions.
Right. Right.
And even still, so if you are a union actor and you want to, your best friend is doing a movie and wants you to be a part of their film project, and you're like, you're not SAG. It's not a SAG signatory, or it's not a SAG project, so I can't do it. Now they're turning down work. I think it would be more lucrative. So I think SAG is effective in a way that it's a scale, but in sometimes you may be worth more than that SAG scale.
Tyler Perry was.
A lot of actors are. A lot of models, even they put them on this scale, and that's it. So the formula, the analytics needs to be a little bit more transparent. But to each his own. I feel a lot of actors want to get back to work.
Right, because we have the bills to pay.
Can you imagine being in solidarity with people that would normally exclude you? It's just, we are always hustling backwards in this way. I think a lot of people can even look back at the civil rights movement and say, maybe this wasn't all it was cracked up to be. Same thing with affirmative action. Has affirmative action closed the racial wealth gap? So it's actually expanding, and we don't even have a middle class anymore. So the thing is, if you really look at unions overall, it hurts the economy, inflation, and having to pay all these exorbitant fees when the companies are really not turning over that much. I think today Netflix just admitted that they had 5 million new subscribers because they stopped the password sharing, for the subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to see an increase now. But the companies are not making that much money like a lot of people would like to believe. But again, the average actor is not going to sit down and look at the finances.
I totally feel this. I totally feel this way that before they just went on this strike, I feel like the president should have really thought about these people's livelihood and how they are going to eat, live, sleep, school starting back. Because I know what it's like. I even know it's like being a single parent. So eat, sleep, school starting back. You see what I'm saying? Your children are affected. How are people going to eat? We just came out of an epidemic. The economy is getting back up. So I feel that maybe she might have an argument in regards to AI, but I feel that you going on strike and people got to eat. You see, like, I totally understand what you're saying because
all the eviction moratorium protections are over. So yeah, they're gonna have to pay these bills. But the thing is like, let's be honest. A lot of people that are in SAG are not getting work. A lot of people let their membership expire because they're not getting enough work. So a lot of actors that are SAG-AFTRA doesn't mean that they're necessarily getting work. So a lot of them say, bump it, and I'm just going to go do this non-union project anyways, and not inform them that I'm working. They got to go make some money. So really, you're standing in solidarity with something that's really not even including you. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. It makes a lot of sense.
You see Black actors standing in solidarity because many of them are on famous shows, but they don't tell you about the other majority that are not even getting work to begin with. And they're out there picking. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm going to continue to investigate. I had 2 interviews that I put on YouTube. And we talked to the actor in great detail. And it just, to me, didn't make a compelling argument. One actor told me, well, I'm not excluded. I make sure I'm not excluded. I've always felt included. So then you're undermining your brothers and sisters that are not even getting roles to begin with. I think Black Americans, African Americans that are in entertainment, we're getting a whole lot more projects that we have been greenlit and funded and approved in the past. I definitely see more. We have a major show like the Shy on Showtime. We had, Issa Rae had a really good run with, Black woman sketch comedy show, and also with Insecure. We see a lot of amazing projects getting out there now. So I can understand that, but for the most part, there are a lot of people who just want to act and they just want to work, but they have to show solidarity, knowing that there's still a lack of diversity in representation.
Now, I did my first film festival last year, which was New Orleans Film Festival.
Okay.
So do you feel that actors and I know that this is happening where actors are migrating over to Atlanta to more of their diverse market. Do you feel that is also an option as well because I know you said that they have different, the laws are totally different from Los Angeles and Atlanta. And they make a lot, for New Orleans, I didn't know they make a lot of slave movies and swamp films and scary movies in New Orleans. And it's a major tax break. So a lot of producers and film directors, they go to New Orleans, literally. So do you feel that actors and writers and producers going out of, leaving Los Angeles and going into Atlanta market can thrive better in other markets?
I think so. I think you will be able to make a greater profit because of these tax credits. But think about it. They have to offer the tax credits because that's how expensive it is. So these are credits. Sometimes it's even I don't want to say refund, but there you can be a rebate. There may be a rebate if you do X, Y, and Z, because there's certain economy like Toronto, or even, for example, on some of the Indian reservations. If you film on an Indian reservation, you could get some type of rebates and some type of refunds, or tax credit.
I
But
didn't
you
know
still got
that.
to put up the money to even get
Right.
the rebate. So the
Right.
thing is, it's still expensive to even produce.
Right.
So that's why everyone's like, it's unfortunate that people don't really take the time before they get into these industries to learn the business. And so when people come to Los Angeles and they're like, ooh, all the homes and the houses, a lot of people out here are living on perks. I didn't even want to go into how a lot of the Black actors were struggling during COVID. And there was a very famous actor and his very famous wife that had to take care of a lot of people.
Oh,
out of their own pocket.
that is
So
crazy.
be very careful what you say. Black Hollywood is tight. Black Hollywood is very tight knit. And and when I first moved here more than a decade ago, we were all we had. So if the majors didn't want to fund our projects and greenlight our projects, and you just have that in your spirit that you still want to get this project done, it got out. It may take somebody to say, this is not a SAG, but I'm going to do it anyway because I just want to act. Mama, I just want to sing. Mama, I just want to act. So
Right.
a lot of times they're putting their union status at risk, taking on projects. They're not supposed to. Sometimes it slides. Sometimes they may not even be current. It's unfortunate. These unions are very harmful, and I don't think it's a place that African Americans, Black Americans should be involved. And that's just me on the outside looking in. I'm sure it's way more intricate than that, but I have yet to meet an actor or even a writer that can really explain to me. And I don't think they realize they could be making more. I don't think they realize being in solidarity and boycotting something where there's a whole other segment of the population that's just looking for work. Doesn't matter.
Right.
So it's just
Well, I
it's
like
a little bit.
point that you brought up about.
I wanted to say this. I actually think if the studios were to say, forget all the unions and let's just take a chance with some of the independent, non-union projects, forget all that, that would actually raise the economy. That's the argument I'm making. That bringing people like me on to do a unit publicist job and saying, forget the unions, apply, you get the job. People going through HR in this way, going through a proper traditional employment opportunities, that will raise the economy.
I agree. I totally agree. Well, I thank you so much for coming on and sharing your perspective, because what really dawned on my heart is that there are so many, actors that have families, have children. Actually, I don't know if you know, I think her name is Marie Lamel, but she has a couple actors that I know. One worked on the series of Tyler Perry, and so they'll be coming on. Actually, I just had interviews with them before the strike went on. Now I got to contact her to see if they can even come on the show. But it really hurts my heart because these people have families, and some of these people, like was that Gabrielle Union said that she takes care of her whole family, and that Dwayne Wade pays half of the bills, and that she feels that she has to go out there and be away from her child and work because she got all of this responsibility on her, because she's taking care she's taking care of mama, daddy, sister, brother, and a lot of them are doing that too, and we don't realize it. I've heard a lot of actors to say that they take care of all their family. So my heart just goes out to the actors that are in SAG and that are not getting paid, and they got kids and families and bills. I can only imagine what that's like right now for them. So
yeah, and I want to keep investigating. I really want to continue to challenge. It just seems to be tone deaf to me, that they're showing solidarity with industries that they say exclude us. And I think for the talent pool that is waiting for work, I think they would love to take a lot of these opportunities and continue making movies out of love for theater, film, arts, writing, all the creative work. So I hope, something happens where everyone's fairly compensated, especially because new media is just growing. It's not even new media anymore. It's digital streaming.
Right. Digital.
If it's making a lot of money, I hope somebody can explain why, because there's so many other fees, carrier fees, distribution. You got to put money into marketing, legal issues, what have you. I think everyone needs to wake up, go back to the drawing board, and figure out where is the money, how is it truly flowing, and I hope the actors take some time to learn a little bit more about the business side of things.
And I would even say multiple streams of income, even before they get in acting. Because my degree, thank God, was in fashion merchandising, and I just started just doing projects and interning for magazines in Texas, in Dallas. But I've always been in merchandising. I always keep merchandising, and because so I think as actors having more than one trade, I don't know, because some people say go all in, but I think having another skill set or another trade to just be there like really helps. Now, that's just me. It helps me having more than one trade. But I would even say that as well, having more than one trade to fall back on so that it can help you in because this here, like you said, this is like,
well, it's really, you got to think about the use value. How useful, what I'm doing in covering politics right now, getting out of the entertainment and sports coverage and going more to politics, that is valuable. But
right.
It gets little to no exposure nor awareness in our communities. Again, like I said, 80 to 90% of the news budget value is going over to sports and entertainment. But right. And even though these are industries that also pay as well, what we get out of it doesn't necessarily help us. So we all need to go back coming out of this pandemic, during the recession, during high inflation, and really look at what is it that we're contributing? What are we outputting? That will determine our income. Is it truly valuable? We
all need to do a reset, even myself, because it's like you're so tempted to go over and just do, Hollywood Unlocked is doing it, so maybe I need to do this. But you really need to stay with your heart, and really do what's in your heart. And one of the things I don't do, I just don't put out, it's just not in my spirit to just be attacking people. I've never been a yellow journalist, and I'm not starting. It's just not me. It's, I like a lot of these brands. I like it. Even Jason has a school. He has like the school set up, and I went through it, and it was incredible how he got his model going, his business model. But I'm just not a yellow journalist. And some stuff he said that he doesn't put out. Revolt just got $1 million. Was it $1 million from Target? I don't know if you heard of that, for advertising. And I'm like, but I think Revolt now has a black side, like a side.
I worked in retail. Okay, the men's shoe department at Bloomingdale's makes $12 million. Okay, a month.
Wow.
Okay.
They said that they gave them $1 million in advertising. I think it was like last year, and I was like,
nothing. That's nothing. Some brands pay $20 million per quarter.
Wow.
So that's the devaluation of Black media.
I agree.
But to us, $1 million would be great.
Right.
But how much do you have to, how large does your audience have to be in order to get that $1 million ad, when you don't even realize your predominantly white publications are seeing $1 million a month in ad spend? We're happy to get that for the annual cycle. Like I said, we're only collectively, all of our Black-owned media outlets collectively don't even see 5% of revenue from advertising budgets that are put out every year from most companies on average.
Insane. But Lila, I know that you have a busy schedule, and I thank you so much. I got some goodies that we're sending to you in the mail for being on the show, and I just appreciate you for coming on and taking time, because you've shed some light in regards to how the entertainment industry works and how. But one thing that you did say that I really loved is that we have to be a community that sticks together. That is just so important. And even with me being part of the National Black Journal, it just feels good to be in a community. And I don't know. And I was going to ask you, is there an association for actors? Because I know that you do a lot with actors and you have clients sometimes and you work in the industry. Is there some type of association for, African American, Actors Association or Hispanic Actors Association? Do they have
in Los Angeles? In Los Angeles, yeah, you will see organizations. I used to see them all the time during award show season. It's very hard to maintain a lot of these groups. They do try, but it's a lot of the events that bring people together. It's not always sustainable, but I'm sure there are plenty of them. Are the actors involved? For the most part, not. They're not. But it's for me, it's not so much like I was trying to really make that clear. It's not so much for me about us sticking together. We need to get the quality and the value, okay, up. Because what happens is then communities, you end up when you get to a certain quality level. If we started with quality to be the connector, as opposed to just race-based or skin color unity, that's not a unifier. What happens is we're all Black and we're all in it together. And then the moment we start getting high quality production, then we're transcending race and we're no longer part of the Black community. If we all start and we connect based off of just top-notch service and quality and meet each other at the top, I think we need a different approach altogether. So this is going to be a work in progress. These are just theories and ideas, but I know the old system of just trying to force us to all, be a part of this same circle is not going to work. Let's build respect for each other's work. Let's build respect for one another first, and we can see each other as quality. And let's put more value and emphasis on our contribution. And so, I will do your podcast because I'm thinking like, no, this is important. This can go further. I might convince someone, even if it's just one person. But let's talk. Let's have these conversations. I really do appreciate you having me on the show. And it's nuanced, it's intricate.
It's like you and like nobody else, because I know that you said that you do a lot of covering for the mayor, but I'm like, this girl here, she knows her, like you like a little Black Panther.
I know. You have to be. We have to be multidimensional. We have to. I'm a business owner, so that's why I think. Unfortunately, my perspective is with the studios. I don't think a lot of people understand what they're going through. So I'm going to take it as administrative, CEO, executive level. And hopefully, like I said, it'll continue to raise awareness about how the money is truly flowing. And maybe they'll have more respect for the production side and the post-production and the marketing and all the other things that happen below the line and behind the scenes. So
now, how can if someone wants to get in contact with you, know more about because you're I think that you're so dimensional with the journalism and the PR, like a little powerhouse. Like, how can someone want to contact you in regards? What is your contact information so they can get in contact with you?
Absolutely, my website is EllaBeemediagroup.com, ELLABEE mediagroup.com. You can find me on YouTube as well. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, do what you got to do. So much information, a lot of I talk a lot about reparations, indigenous rights, and then Hollywood and sports and all the juxtaposition between that. My Instagram, look for us, Team EBMG, and you can find us EB Media Group, LB Media Group on Twitter and Facebook. I try to be on all social media platforms. TikTok's a little bit more personal. It's fun, but really in this day and age, you have to be on all social media. So you can look for me, my name or company.
Lila, social media is a job.
It is. Content creation. See, content creators are having a lot of fun, fashion, beauty. I wanted my content creation contribution to be focused on news and politics, things that are actually going to help enhance and better inform our community. So that's just my agenda now.
I love that. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and we have to talk later.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for we look how we had a difficulty. We came back and we finished the show. I'm so happy that we were able to work it out. And thank you to your audience for watching and listening. I greatly appreciate it.
Okay, bye. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.